Okay, now we want to come to Nusantara, which is Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore. Let's keep going. Okay, now this is a typical traditional Nusantara mosque. This is actually, I believe, from Indonesia. Okay, now that is called a sacred mountain in their traditions. And this was sacred to them before Islam came. So you're going to have 3 tiers, 4 tiers, 5 tiers. And, it's very good for the rain. It's very good for the heat and the humidity. And, also that it's sacred in the eyes of the people. So that's smart. Let's keep going. Here's another one. I think they're beautiful. Here's another one. Sacred mountains. Cosmic mountains, actually, it's called. Cosmic mountain. Let's take the next one. Another cosmic mountain. Don't you think that's beautiful? And if you go inside of them, they are so fantastic. You think there's a big carpet on the floor? No. It's marble. Because again, it's humid there. Carpets like this, they're not nice after a while. So they want to have it marble. Okay, and then people bring in prayer mats and things like that. Okay, let's keep going. Another one, keep going. Okay, now that is a big what? Drum outside the mosque. Cultural convention. What's it about? Calling to prayer. Haram, isn't it? You think they don't call the adhan? Yes, they do. But they have jungle. They have thick forests. And sound doesn't carry well. The sound of the human voice doesn't carry well in the jungle. But drums do. So they have drum language. Boom, boom. And then they have certain beats that say, come and gather. Other ones say there's danger. Other ones say there's time for prayer. They speak the language of drums. Many people do that, in Africa especially. Drum language. Okay? And so they put up these huge drums. That is an ancient Indonesian Nusantaran tradition. And we adopt it because that is a cultural imperative. This is something good. It suits the situation in those lands. Okay? And we're not going to stop calling the adhan. We do that too. But we also do this as well. Let's keep going. Okay, now here, if you look closely, you'll see that going into the mosque, this is typical in Nusantara, that you got to wade through a pool of water. Well, what's that bid'ah all about? Haram, right? Did the Prophet do that? Okay, why do they do it? Well, because they are a rice civilization. They work in rice paddies. And rice paddies can be dry much of the year. But in the beginning, the rice paddy is muddy. Very muddy. And you've got to go barefoot. And then you've got this peasant coming to the mosque with mud all over his feet. So you're going to beat him and say, wash your feet, wash your feet. No. So he's got to go make wudu, usually. He probably doesn't have it. So he's got to walk through a pool of water like that to go make wudu. And of course, when he makes wudu, is he going to wash his feet? Okay, and then he's got to walk through it coming out. And then he's got to walk through it coming into the mosque. So basically, he's not going to track. Okay? And you're going to have to take off your shoes too, because unless you can jump really well, you're going to have to walk in the water. Okay? Now, there's a big problem with that. And that is that the water gets filled with all kinds of organic things. And you get yucky larvae and mosquitoes. So what are you going to do culturally? Put fish in there. You see beautiful fish. They can be those, what they call them, koi or whatever. Beautiful fish. And you know what? If you're hungry, you're going to eat that fish. See, so this is also cultural imperative. Is there anything wrong with it? No, this is right. This needs to be respected. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, now, we're talking about the 9 saints. And we're especially talking here about Kalijaga, whom I love. And I know one of his great, great, great descendants. Her name is Shanti. And she lives in Jakarta. And Kalijaga was, my goodness, you can't believe his story. We won't go into it in great detail. But he was a great saint. He was like a Robin Hood. And then he became a great saint. And then he takes Islam to the Javanese. He was an aristocrat, very high family. But he takes Islam to the peasants, the rice peasants. And he teaches them Islam through shadow puppets. Those are shadow puppets, and those are his puppets. You see how skinny they are? How long their noses are? That's because there was another saint named Sunan Giri, I think. And Sunan Giri says, haram to make these puppets. Because in the beginning he had little fat puppets, traditional ones. So he goes back to the drawing board and he makes these and he says, Sunan Giri, do you think these could live? But I don't think so. He said, I'm going to use these then. So this is Kalijaga, and they're very beautiful. And then they all tell stories. They'll tell stories about the great encounter that you've read about between Hamza and Krishna, or Vishnu, or between Yusuf and one of the other heroes or gods. Of course, all made up, right? But that's the way they talk to the people. And then they teach Islamic ethics, they teach Islamic teachings, they teach Islamic beliefs. And also they're very smart because you had mostly the people there in Indonesia were Shivite Hindus, they worship Shiva, or they were Buddhists. So they knew what the Shivites like and what they didn't like. They knew where the Shivites get ecstatic. And so they played to that. And they knew that there are things the Shivites do that we don't like. So they left that alone. They didn't attack it. So we'll give you something beautiful. And so they bring the Shivites and the Buddhists into Islam through what they know. Again, remember Amr ibn al-As. Didn't he know the Romans pretty well? Well, they knew their people very well. And we have to know our people very well. Whether they're black or white or Latino or First Nations or whatever they might be. Let's keep going. And more of his shadow puppets, more of his shadow puppets. Keep going. Okay, now here we're going to look at Thailand. Thailand has a lot of Muslims, and we'll go through it quickly, but this is a little Thai village on one of the islands. And again, you know, they're a little bit poor. Their mosque is very old, made from bamboo. But again, it fits in very beautifully. This is their imam. This is our brother Mansour. A lot of you know him. And he was there on his honeymoon. He went to Thailand with his wife, and they go to this island. They're all Muslims. They didn't know that. Of course, the Muslims were really good to them. So let's keep going.